Welcome back. Well, the news is out. I thought I was done today, but not quite. Some of our other friends, Mark O'Donnell, let us know on Twitter that this is out in the news on jw.org. Just released. It's funny how they do this just before a long weekend. They just sneak this news out, hoping that no one sees it. Well, here it is. They call it an unconstitutional ruling in Norway. We're going to look at that. What are they really telling their people? Well, they're just saying they went to court and all of these things. But they're saying that the position of the state now remains that it will continue to deny legal recognition to Jehovah's Witnesses in the country of Norway, unless we change our practice regarding the removal of unrepentant wrongdoers from the congregation. Is that really the truth, folks? Or is that a lie? Truth or false? False or truth? Truth or false? Is that a truth or a lie? Or is it a twist? It's definitely a lie. Well, let's take a look at this. And they're saying, while we await the outcome of the appeal, we will continue to pray concerning kings and all those who are in high positions, so that we may go on leading a calm and quiet life with complete godly devotion. So is that what's happening, folks, regarding their shunning policy? Unrepentant wrongdoers. What if someone doesn't want to go back? They don't want to repent. They don't want to be part of the organization. Why do they keep shunning us? That's what happened to me. I just walked away. And they shun you. And then they advertise that. So they discriminate. It's against our human rights. This is why we're going to keep fighting. In all of our videos, we have the Be Free coming up. There's a Be Free survey happening. Letters for Change in North America, write your member of parliament. That's in the description below. We have a petition in Canada to do the same thing as Norway. We have over 1,000 signatures. If you're Canadian, please go into the description, look at it. We're doing the same thing. This is wrong. They're telling their followers that they're denied legal recognition. Well, what does that mean? It just means that they can't marry and they're not going to get state subsidies. It's really a whine out for money. This is all about money, folks. This has nothing to do with nothing else but money. Because they can go door to door. They can carry on, do what they're doing, talk about the truth and the 144,000 and that the governing body, they're the idols that everyone should worship. They can go door to door and tell everyone how the governments are going to be ruined and Armageddon's coming and only us, the JWs, are going to be saved. They can go ahead and do that. No one's stopping them. It's not Russia. They're just not going to get the charity money. Why do taxpayers want to pay charity money to these organizations, these cults, that confine people with these strong rules? You can't even leave the religion. You have no communication with your family, your children. They break the 10 Commandments. They force their blood doctrine on people. People are dying in that religion. It's a cult. So yeah, it's no wonder why they say here not to talk to their, not to talk outside. You know, you could be a Jehovah's Witness in good standing and they deny you getting married in the Kingdom Hall. That happened in my place. I had to go to the Justice of the Peace and get married anyways. So that's because of their disfellowshipping exclusion rule and some of their weird rules, how they treated people. But that's another story, another day. We're going to take a look at Mark O'Donnell's story. And he got this rolling for us. He says, after a lengthy hiatus, the Jehovah's Witness newsroom has finally posted an update for their members on the status of their lawsuit against Norway. The problem is the JWs have misled their own members into believing that Norway has challenged the rights of Jehovah's Witnesses to disfellowship baptized members. This is false. The District Court of Oslo issued its ruling against the Jehovah's Witnesses on March 4th of this year, and in their opening summary, Norway stated the following: The state claims that Jehovah's Witnesses prevent the right to freedom of expression and expose baptized children to psychological violence and negative social control. Look at the latest video on these little kids going door to door. It's controlling these kids to be salespeople. This is said to be the effect of a religiously motivated practice, which means that no one in the congregation should have contact with former members who have been excluded, ostracized, or who have withdrawn. In my case, many other cases. In the state's view, children's rights are also violated by another practice that applies to unbaptized minors who have the status of preachers. Look at that, eh? Children given the clergy status. Jehovah's Witnesses, shame on you. Doesn't make sense. We know that teachers, preachers, this is for men, married men preferably, and experienced individuals. Women included, they could be teachers, experienced, not children. So that's what they give these children, these minors, these 13-year-olds, the status of preachers. It's a lot of pressure on these kids. Then they got to go to school and stand out in the hallway at Christmas and all of those things. Now, it goes on to say here, if they commit a serious sin and unbaptized, as unbaptized, they cannot be ostracized, but they risk exclusion and social isolation from the community in the congregation, because the arrangement is that one must be careful in associating with the child. Now, when I came in, it was back in the 80s, I married an unbaptized publisher. Active publisher, wanted to get baptized. They wouldn't baptize her. And she got disfellowshipped, treated the same as me, disfellowshipped. And they baptized her when she got reinstated. Now, the case against Jehovah's Witnesses was never about barring the JWs from disfellowshipping, regardless of how barbaric this policy is. Norway's laws are designed and revised to protect children from practices that lead to negative social control, isolation, ostracism, and the disfellowshipping of minors violates those laws. In effect, these important laws are the equivalent of anti-bullying principles that apply to all organizations, religious or otherwise. You see, folks, the Watchtower is breaking the human rights of millions of people. It's estimated that there's about 1 million people that have walked away from JW.org, more than 10%. Now, in effect, these important laws are the equivalent of anti-bullying, right? Like in schools and things like that. You can kick a bully at a school, but you can't run around all the classrooms and announce that you've kicked this bully at a school and that no one should associate with him. And if anybody talks to this bully, even outside of the classroom, even on the street, even in his home, and it's reported to the principal, then that person's ostracized as well. You see, that's the Jehovah's Witness rules. But that wouldn't fly in a school, would it? Or any other institution. Or religious. It is noteworthy that Jehovah's Witnesses in Norway and around the world are being spoon-fed a corrupted and misleading summary of this case. Nowhere will you find a link to or a copy of the decision of Oslo's court within the Jehovah's Witness newsfeed, or anywhere else that the witness source information from. Now, the title of their article leads JW members to automatically accept that they are being victimized by an unconstitutional ruling. That's what their news heading says. Right here, Jehovah's Witness appeal, unconstitutional ruling. They're the ones that sued the government. And they lost. Now, this is a similar argument made by the JWs when faced with scores of child sexual abuse lawsuits in which the organization's branch offices instructed church elders not to report the abuse. Their reasoning is that the constitutions of relevant countries permit elders to preserve confessions and confidential communications inside the filing cabinets and databases of the church, rendering mandatory reporting laws useless, unless they've shredded them. Rank and file members of the Jehovah's Witness faith are left with a strictly one-sided impression of the Norwegian ruling against the church and are advised by the church to strictly avoid negative media and apostate-driven lies. We remember that clearly, the governing body coming out and putting that forth. So Jehovah's Witnesses will consider this tweet as an apostate-driven lie. So there you go. That's the end of Mark O'Donnell's tweet. So we appreciate that, Mark O'Donnell, and I think he spelled it out in a very good manner for all of us. So thanks again for that. Okay, well, that brings an end to the Norway news update and how Jehovah's Witnesses, or JW.org, is pitching this to their people. They're not telling the whole truth. They're telling just a little bit. So this all comes back to bite them, because it's quite clear that there's more to it than that. And our religion doesn't lose its status just because of making it look like disgruntled people walking away. They want you to get rid of that policy. That's not what this is. This is about abuse of children, using children as preachers, as little soldiers, robots, making them sit outside the classrooms, tormenting them in the schools, loss of life when it comes to blood transfusions. They can be shunned. My children were shunned and ostracized at a young age. And this has to stop. We're going to take this in Canada all the way, as far as we can. The same as Norway, we have to keep the pressure on. That's what we're doing. Letters for change in the descriptions below if you haven't got that. I'm going to be saying that a lot lately, folks. We keep that pressure on. And through the governments, the Bible does say that through these governments, change will happen. It says that right in Romans chapter 13, and you can read the whole chunk of it, verse 1 to verse 8. And it talks about listening to these governments when it comes to preventing crimes. These are crimes against children, and this is what it's all about. So, folks, we have to keep the pressure on. So I guess it's time to go. And until next time, keep living your life with love. Bye for now. It's time for us to go. We entered the farmer's market one last time to say our goodbyes. Nina wished us much confidence in our new journey ahead as we disappeared through the mist, but this time to a new land. To be continued in Book 3, Finding Purpose.